Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi there.
What's your name?
Dan?
Hello, Dan. Are you watching a movie?
No. I'm actually getting ready to record a podcast.
Podcast, huh?
Yeah, that's right. It's called Braving the Brightside, and it's
Isn't
about,
there 1,000 of those? I mean, everyone has a podcast nowadays.
well, yes, but I mean, my podcast it's centered on hope and in healing and what it takes.
Sounds way too hopeful. And your sound levels are all over the place. I can't wait to see your reaction when I leave a 1-star
What,
review.
what did you just say?
1 star. And you handle that. Baldy.
You son of a, wait, did you call me Baldy? Man, I think I would have rather been stabbed, because, ouch. Good evening, my friends, and welcome to something new. Welcome to Braving the Frightside, the very first Halloween special here on Braving the Brightside. Now, don't worry, this isn't a don't go into the basement kind of show. At least, not literally. Though, honestly, if you do hear strange noises coming from the basement while you're listening, maybe just, I don't know, leave that mystery unsolved. Or, if you do feel compelled to go check it out, let the podcast play anyway. This way I can still get the numbers. It's just, polite, really. Halloween's always been arguably my favorite time of the year. There's something beautiful about it. This night where we all get to face the things that scare us. We put on masks, light candles, and whisper to the dark like it's an old friend. But fear, fear is something else, isn't it? It's not always some guy with a chainsaw chasing you through the woods. Sometimes fear looks like change. Sometimes it sounds like grief. And sometimes it feels like silence that you've been avoiding. And that's the kind of fear I want to talk about tonight. Not the kind that jumps out at you, but the kind that kind of hides in plain sight. Because as the great Sidney Prescott once said, it's always someone you know. And that's fear for you. It's not out there lurking in the shadows. It's right here inside all of us. It's that whisper that says you can't change. That quiet panic when you finally do. It's the ghost of who you used to be and the monster that you're afraid you might just become. But I've learned something. You can run. You can hide. You can pretend you don't see the clown in the sewer. But sooner or later, you're going to have to turn around and look fear dead in the eyes and say, you know what? Yeah, let's all float down here. Let's do it. Because the truth is, fear's not the villain. It's the flashlight. It's the thing that shows you what still matters enough to be scared of. And like Michael Myers chasing his sister, or Jason Voorhees avenging his mother's pain, I will not be deterred. Not until I deliver a Halloween special straight from the heart. This is Coffee Break. What haunts us, heals us. A Halloween special from Braving the Frightside. So grab your coffee, keep your flashlight handy, and remember, sometimes the scariest thing isn't really what's hiding in the dark. It's realizing the light's been inside you the whole time. Fear. It's one of the 6 main human emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, disgust, and fear. It's baked into us, a built-in alarm system. By definition, it's a natural adaptive emotion of apprehension in response to perceived danger. That's the dictionary version. But for most of us, fear isn't a wild animal in the woods. It's a quiet panic of living in this world, especially now. It's opening your phone to a hard message. It's sitting in the dark at 2 a.m. wondering if you could really change your life. It's trying to parallel park on a crowded Philly street while strangers silently judge you, whisper amongst themselves, pointing at you, pulling their phones out to take pictures while you're just trying to reverse your car. You start sweating and panicking. Your anxiety spikes and you drive away, never to return to that street for the rest of your life. That's the kind of fear I want to talk about today. The absolute human kind. When we were kids, fear was simple. It's pretty straightforward, pretty black and white, right? It's monsters under the bed. It's thunder outside the window, the hallway light flicking off too soon. Don't talk to strangers. Windowless van, that's usually pretty bad. These are all simple things of fear. I remember my first time experiencing fear. And this is kind of bizarre because it's literally one of my first memories when I was a kid. I must have been 3 or 4. I can't remember exactly. But it was my birthday. And I was at McDonald's, as one did back then. And those big trash can things where you take your tray and dump the trash in and put your tray on the top. For whatever reason, I don't know if I was trying to climb it. I don't know what was going on. I distinctly remember just looking up and seeing that thing slowly heading towards me. And that's when I distinctly remember feeling, oh, shit, in my little 4-year-old brain. And that was the first real experience of being like, I don't know what this is, but I am terrified. And I can feel it in my chest. And then it landed on me, and I was pinned to the ground, and I remember screaming, bloody murder. It's a really random early memory, but it's a memory that sticks with me because I can remember my dad pulling the trash can off and then pulling me off the floor, but also the pure fear in my heart when that maroon trash can started coming down at me. So yeah, when you're a kid, you learn fear pretty quickly, and it's usually monsters, it's horror movies, or it's you falling off your bike or afraid you're going to fall off your bike or afraid of getting in trouble. There's certain fears, but it's all, like I said, it's all straightforward. You learn quick as a kid. Don't look under the bed. Don't open the closet. Stay safe, especially back then. Somewhere along the line, that rule kind of sticks, right? So when we grow up, we kind of swap out the monsters, or those monsters kind of grow up and morph with us, right? The darkness becomes fear of failure. That creak in the house becomes the fear of loss. Those shadows that you would stare at in the middle of the night in your bedroom, well, that becomes a voice that creeps into your brain in the middle of the night and saying, what am I doing? Am I enough? For most of my life, I tried to outrun fear, all different types of fear, even when I didn't even realize it. I tried to numb it, tried to ignore it, tried to outwork it. When my mom passed away, fear hit me in a way that I didn't have words for. Also, I just wasn't expecting it. I fully expected grief, and I was sitting in the grief, but suddenly fear started creeping in. Fear of the unknown, of what am I going to do? I just kind of lost a massive pillar in my life so suddenly, for the most part, and it scared the hell out of me for multiple reasons. The fact that a human life could just disappear like that was an absolute part of my heart. And then also that I didn't have that anymore, and what my world, what my life, what my path was going to look like. Like I said, it wasn't just grief. It was just the realization that everything could just change in a heartbeat. So I built walls, filled the silence with noise, with busyness, with drinks and other drugs after work. I didn't want to just sit still long enough to feel it. So I distracted myself. I can't look and feel the fear if I'm blacked out or, passed out. But avoidance has a way of turning fear into something much bigger than it really is. When I finally stopped drinking, it wasn't because I wasn't afraid. It was because I realized fear had already taken enough from me. And the only way to get my life back was to walk straight through it into sobriety. And it was terrifying. And that was the scariest thing I've ever done. But it's also the reason I'm still here, talking to you right now. Fear was the gatekeeper for me. It stood at literally every crossroad. Quitting alcohol, leaving a career that felt safe, but also small. Starting this podcast, writing stories again, even picking up a baseball bat for the first time in 20 years in front of a bunch of strangers for the most part. But I started chasing that feeling. I started liking that fear of what the hell am I doing here? Every single time I felt that old pulse in my chest, the one that says, you sure about this? You sure about that? And every single time I learned that fear really wasn't there to stop me. It was there to make sure I knew what mattered enough to be scared of in the first place. Make me feel alive, make me feel something, anything, everything. Fear is personal proof that you're stepping into territory that counts, into territory that counts to you and matters to you. Look, I know that real fear exists. Not the poetic kind, not the Instagram quote kind. I mean, the kind that keeps people up at night. The bills, the diagnosis, the breakup, the empty chair at the table. I mean, there's some real serious shit going down across this country, across the world. And I'm not trying to downplay that at all. I'm really not. There's nothing cute or inspiring about that kind of fear. But even then, the act of facing that, not turning away, is one of the most sacred things a human being can do. Yes, it makes you fearless in a way, but also in a better sense, in a more intense way, it makes you absolutely 100% real. Even if it's not your panic and your fear, you feel the need to step into that. That's incredible. Fear doesn't always mean danger. Sometimes it means importance. Your body doesn't rev up because it wants to stop you. It's gearing you for the moment that might just change everything. That's how it felt leaving my old job. My hands were shaking, my stomach was a knot, and still some quiet part of me said, go. And once I did, the fear didn't vanish. God, no. Oh my God. But it did transform. Somehow it became momentum. I just kind of blindly walked into a grocery store and said, hey, you hiring? And they said, sure, here's an application. You want to talk real quick? And I was like, yeah. And I immediately started sweating. I could feel, like I said, I could feel my chest tightening. And before you know it, I was sitting at a table talking to somebody, and I was like, what am I doing? And that feeling stayed with me for a long time, but again, it kind of just reinforced the direction I was going in. And I feel like that's what fear can do when we stop running from it. It could essentially become fuel. So maybe this Halloween, instead of chasing ghosts, maybe we listen to the one inside us. The one that says, yeah, I'm scared, but I think I still want a little bit more from life. Because the truth is, fear doesn't vanish when you face it. It just stops driving the car, kind of hands you the keys. When that happens, boy howdy, fear becomes freedom. Darkness become clarity. And the thing that once haunted you becomes the thing that heals you. Fear isn't necessarily the villain we think it is. Sometimes it's the reminder that we're alive, that there's still something out there worth moving toward. So whatever it is for you, the change, the conversation, the dream you've been too afraid to chase, maybe let fear walk beside you. Just don't let it steer. Just kind of grip it up and be like, yo, let's go for a walk real quick. See where it takes you. You'd be surprised. Believe me. As we wind down on this Halloween special and Braving the Frightside, I just want to let you know that I'm still fearful as well, especially when it comes to this podcast. A lot of times we get frozen in time of just waiting for the right time. And I got to tell you, I wasn't ready for this. I just kind of figured, fuck it, let's do it. And I'm still learning, and I'm still afraid more times than not, and I'm still messing up more times than not. But the important thing is I took that fear and I took that step, and I wouldn't be talking to you right now without it. So I want to thank you for joining me on our first ever Halloween special. Pretty cool. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Halloween. I hope everyone's having a safe Halloween. Hope everyone loves their costumes and are heading to the parties or getting an insane amount of candy or handing out an insane amount of candy. I am myself dressing up as Spider-Man or Super Mario. I don't know. I'm running on literally 2 hours of sleep, so I'm going to be exhausted trying not to fall asleep into a bowl of candy. But John Ralphio, my hairless cat, he will have a crown, a red crown, and a red cape because he's my king. And Vigo, my puppy, will be dressed as Elvis. So he'll be a king as well. So I'll be surrounded by two kings handing out candy to the children that I'm pretty excited about. So hopefully not passed out on the front because I'm so tired. But we'll see. Or whatever you're doing, I hope you have a phenomenal time. I hope you enjoy All Hallows Eve in the most badass and safest way. I cannot thank you enough for joining me on Braving the Frightside. If something in today's conversation stirred something in you, if fear has been whispering in your ear, or you've got a story you've been too scared to tell, I'd love to hear it. Reach out anytime at bravingthebrightside@gmail.com or find me on Instagram at braving_the_brightside. And if you've got a story you feel compelled to share, but you're just not quite ready to come on the show, well, that's okay too. Send it my way. And with your permission, I'll read it right here on the podcast. Because your voice matters, even if it trembles just a little when it's time to use it. Until next time, keep braving it. One step, one sunrise, one honest conversation, and yes, one haunted heartbeat at a time. I'll see you next week.